Welcome folks, tonight it is the Roadster Rumble, round number 4, live from Imola, thanks to Simworx Race Simulators. And we're doing it tonight for a 1 hour endurance race. G'day Keith, g'day Graham as well, thanks for the stars, and welcome aboard everyone that's tuning in. James Middleton's in the house as well, g'day everyone. It's time for some MX5 racing. As always, two classes of cars out there on the racetrack with our Group A drivers in the 2016 Mazda MX5 Roadster, and Class B tonight will be in the 2010 MX5 Roadster. So good competition is set for us now. Driving is out, or driving's being done. Qualifying has been run and done as well. Let's have a quick look at the qualifying results. This is how they have gone through into the books. Overall, Jack Boyd puts it on pole position, 3/10 clear of Tane, who's joined the series on debut, so right up there on his first ever race in this series. Looking good at the moment in the 4:30. Keep an eye out for him when it gets race time. Owen Coleman's gone P3. Andrew Dutch in 4th place with Kyle Ridley is top 5. Let's head over to Class B or Group B. Have a look at their qualifying results, and Brad Wooten continues his form. 8/10 clear of Wayne Losh, who was quick last round. Moz start from 3rd, Seeger and Canto to round out your top 5 in that class. So there's your two classes getting set for battle. We'll take you down to the grid shortly. Let's bring up a little bit of car noise, take you down to the racetrack and look at some of these MX5 drivers. If you've got anyone in particular want me to focus on right now, now's the time to make them known as let's see what the chat's already saying. Also, Matty T is how to pronounce Matty T. Tesserero, is that right? Tesserero. Ray Morgan's just saying Tesserero is how you pronounce Matty T. I like the Matty T. Matty T has solved many problems every time I go to pronounce that name, Tesserero. There you go. Maybe I'll probably remember that for the next 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll forget again. Let's see how we go tonight. So MX5's out there. This circuit we saw last night with the TaipanEvents replay. It's a tricky racetrack to get a lap together. They're going to have to do it for an hour tonight. So the race is back to endurance racing. They do tend to run the sprint race format in this series. They've chucked a few of these races in that are the more endurance-based racing of 1 hour. So we've got a few people missing tonight. In fact, Greg Holmes, who puts all this series together, isn't with us tonight. He will be watching and being part of the back end of the race tonight, as far as being on Discord, but won't be actually out there on the racetrack. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see if they can get down through that first chicane when you've got them all barreling in there, and first lap nerves are plenty. As long as they can clear that, I think the first couple of chicanes and get themselves up the back end of the circuit, we'll probably see a well sought out 1 hour race. But I did notice in the pre-qualifying, just prior to us going live, they were dicing out there. There was 5, 6, 7 cars, almost 5 wide at some points, especially into the little chicane, which we noted in the TaipanEvents last night can be absolutely treacherous. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. So welcome aboard. Like I said earlier, this is Race Stars TV. My name's Luke. I'll be taking you through the broadcast tonight, and we are live once again for the Roadster Rumble here on your favourite thing to do on a Monday night. Tune in, check out some Race Stars TV. Roadster Rumble time. Yeah, baby. Let's get racing. About 5 minutes to go till we get into the the only race tonight. Click through a few different drivers. Let me know who you want to see. Mark Foster on your screen right now. What a great looking race car that is. Always smiling, the MX5. It's just like the big smiling profile picture there for Mark Foster. He's got a big grin on his face there. Tyson Gordon, how will he do tonight? Ray Harrison's out there as well. 2 Rays racing. Graham Ellis, massive supporter of the channel, out there in the 55. What can he do tonight? Local Larry racing car. Matty Wynn's in the house too. G'day mate. G'day Damien Seeger as well. Says enjoy, go Damo. Ooh, that's me. That is you, my friend. Let's see if you're out on the track. You're not yet. Keith Logan is though. Keith, another one of our regulars, tunes in and supports what we do here at Race Stars TV. And there's Keith circulating around. James Middleton saying no Caleb tonight. Ray says he was in practice. Cheers. Watch out later from the tow truck, says Ray Morgan. No tow trucks tonight. I'm sure they'll get through cleanly. 4 minutes to go. I'm going to get myself set, grab a quick drink, and then we'll go live for the race. Don't go anywhere. Just joining us tonight. This is the Roadster Rumble, great series. If you want to get involved with it, hit up their Facebook page, or you can send them a message on Discord as well. But definitely go across and join them on Facebook. Greg in the background does a massive amount of work to make this a great fun series with plenty of fun rounds and some good prizes on offer too if you're involved in this. If you love MX5 racing, which most people that cut their teeth in iRacing tend to either race a Skip Barber or an MX5 to begin with. So they should know these cars like the back of their hand if you've been in iRacing for a while. They're a lot of fun. Like I say each week, they're a controllable car. You can slide them around, throw them around, and they tend to be quite predictable, which is fantastic. Jody Patterson says, Caleb on the comeback. Let's see how he goes tonight. Caleb Patterson is out there on the racetrack. There he is. So we'll give him a little bit of airtime for Patterson Racing. And good looking race car, the 888. Loading up all the suspension through the right hander there. You can just see down the bottom of the hill how much energy goes into the car. This is the chicane I'm talking about. We'll just zoom back a bit. You can just see they've got all brake. We saw 3 or 4 wide in practice, and then getting through there. Now if you go across the curb, you will get yourself a slowdown. A sideways moment for Patterson as he slides his way through there. But what a slowdown means, if you're new, it means you've got to actually slow the car down and a lapse time will come up on the screen. You've got to give that time back to iRacing. Looks like Caleb's doing a bit of an expression session here. I like this. See if he gets sideways through here as well. Once you give that time back to iRacing, you can get back onto the throttle, but until you do, you're at the hands of the iRacing gods. Bless me. I'm glad you didn't have to hear that. I can mute my camera now and sneeze tonight. I think it's allergies, not COVID, thank God. As we see Andrew Thompson. No P in Thompson, it's just Andrew Thompson tonight. Optimal Gaming. Got the shiny gaming logo on the side of the car. Group B competitor. So this warm-up session, we've got 4 Group A's leading the charge, 4 Group B's. Also setting a time, 1 minute till we go racing. So I'm going to head across now and jump into my commentary booth racing outfit and get set for this, the big one tonight. 1 hour around this circuit here at Imola, the Roadster Rumble, live on Restars TV. Plenty of people wishing good luck to all the competitors. It's time to read through the grid for tonight's 1 hour race. And this is how they will line up as soon as they disappear here. They're about to be punted back to the pits and told that they've got a 3-minute countdown to start the race. There we go. iRacing well in tune with that. And let's take you now through the grid order. This is how they will start. Jack Boyd puts himself on another pole position. Tane, brand new to the series, will start from P2 alongside him, and then it's Owen Coleman and Andrew Dutch on the second row tonight. Third row, Ridley and Wood. Oliver and Edwards round out the fourth row, and Scotty Baker. Simon Joel Smith will be your top 10 for tonight's race. Lee Harrison out of 11 with Glenn Boyd starting in your top 12, 13th on the grid. tonight will be Keith Logan. Great qualifying position there. Matty T alongside Tesserero. Good job. Fenton and Harrison out of 16 with Morgan, Patterson. And then you got the Wooten machine there in 19th place, the top Group B competitor with Losh, Moroz, Seeger, Canto and Gordon, your top 24. 25th on the grid tonight, Ellis with Pears, then Connors and Paradiso down in 28th. And we're about to go racing, folks, so we'll get rid of the grid because that's as far as we can go. We're waiting for the green. This is how they start here at Imola. For 1 hour of racing, the revs come down as they get some traction, get underway with the green light. Pretty good start at the front. Jack Boys jumped away well. Pretty even down through the field as we look back further. So far, so good, but the big run now into the braking zone for the first chicane. Hold on to your hats. Here they go. 30 or so MX-5s skipping their way across the curb cams. So far, so good. Everyone getting through there with no accidents at all. Great driving. They tend to know when it's a 1 hour race that they need to be a little bit well behaved at the start. And so far, we've seen absolute superb driving. So kudos to all the fellas and girls out there tonight doing a good job. Jack Boyd leads us away in the background. Look at that little battle into the hairpin, I call it. It's a big sweeping left-hander. Oh, we got a spinner. We got a spinner, and he's just got to hold the brake there, make sure he doesn't go back on the track. Andrew Dutch has gone around, sadly, and he's going to find himself in a lot of trouble. He'll have to wait for the whole field to go through, and he'll go right to the back of the order, sadly, for Dutchy. Up front, Boyd, though, got away by 0.3 of a second. Owen Coleman is currently chasing him down. And it's early days. Let's see if Jack Boyd can start to get away a little bit. There's already a 4-second gap back to 6th. That's where Dutch fell away from the field. And maybe everyone checked up there for a moment. Caleb Patterson made up 5 positions in this opening half a lap. He's up to 13th already, so he's moving along very, very nicely. There he is. And Keith Logan just ahead of him at the moment under all sorts of pressure. Glenn Boyd as well made up a spot. Wayne Losh has made up 2 in the Group B class to be leading that class early stages of the race too. So perfect getaway for Loshy, who was on form last week, and he's carried that form through again tonight. Here goes Logan and Boyd challenging each other. Patterson in the background as well. Matty T behind him. On board now with Patterson. So to complete lap 1, we're going to see lap times over the 2-minute mark. So about a 30-lap race tonight for this one. And Patterson got a good run here on Logan. We'll put him behind that Matty T. And Fenson, here comes the Fenson. He wants to move himself forward as well. And he's right alongside Matt Tesserero, and he gets through. So good job by Fenson, up into 14th now, late on the brakes. The car squirming around over the curb cam. There he goes and on his way. So great start as we head up to Cameron Edwards in 7th place. Cameron at the moment, the Frog Leap Juiced racing car. He's having a great little battle with Lee Harrison. Let's jump on board with Edwards looking back at Harrison. 3 minutes into this race, Josh Trappett says Caleb getting used to this coming from behind thing. Did it this weekend at Morgan Park in the XLs. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's good to see the XLs obviously out at Morgan Park. They were down at Wakefield too on the weekend, so getting plenty of track time on the XL series in Australia, which is a series I'm very fond of. They actually used my broadcasting network for their E-series when they did that earlier, well, probably a year ago now. It feels like yesterday, but a little while ago. Just got to sit up in my chair a bit tonight. I was very lazy last night leaning back, and I think it shows, so let me just sit up a little bit in my chair. Give you a picture. We got a crash, a big crash between Tesserero and I think it was Fenson as well. We'll get you a replay of this one shortly. I heard the crunch in my earpiece before I saw any smoke. Glenn Boyd possibly involved too. Let's go and have a look at a replay. See what went on there. So it's down the bottom of the hill, was it? There's Boyd. Does he get checked up? No, he lost the rear end. And then he's going to get collected here, as was Keith Logan, I think, into the side of him, and Fenson, big hit into the side. And I think Keith might be in a bit of trouble. He's going to have to pit that car. You see plenty of damage. So unfortunately, after a good start for Logan, that'll be through the pit lane. And look at the damage on that MX-5. So is this a new damage model they've put here in iRacing? Because I've never seen them lose the front end like that. It's incredible. That car is looking not very good at all. So Logan, I presume, will peel off into the pits. No, he doesn't. Sorry, that's Fenson. I was getting that wrong. Benson doesn't peel off into the pits. Where did Logan go, though? I think he did come into the pit lane. He has. So the Southern Cross racing car is in the lane getting repaired, and that's sad news.
You go the left,
at the start of a 1 hour race, of course. We're only nearly 5 minutes in. Already 2 or 3 cars back in the pits. Back out in front, Jack Boyd though leading. Still 0.6 of a second, they're staying with him. Tane on debut. Tane Venables. That's how you pronounce his last name. And as we look at the class leaders as well, Losh, just keep an eye on him in 14th outright. 17 seconds off the lead already, but really holding his own for Group B. And he did that so well last week too. Sandown, now he's trailing that again tonight and bringing all that form with him. I'm just wondering if Tane's holding back a little bit tonight. I've got no idea of this pit strategy, what's going to happen, how many tanks of fuel they'll need. I presume at least one pit stop tonight. And new fastest lap there for Aaron Oliver as well, the man on your screen. Number 70 in the Palmer's Penrite car. He's just gone through 202.89 over the timing beam last lap around, so good job. That compares to everyone in front of him who are about 5 to 6 tenths slower. So he's just got to get his foot down now, catch up to the back of Nick Wood, who's in 5th. And try and get himself up towards that top 3 if he can. With that sort of speed, surely he's got that in his sights as we jump on board with Simon Joel Smith sitting in 11th place. He's got Ray Morgan behind him, but in fact the gap is 7.4 seconds back to Ray Morgan. And Ray Harrison, I presume that's the 2 Rays racing it is. two Rays racing. A couple of Rays racing at the moment in 12th and 13th place. Then it's the top Group B competitor in these very quiet, they sound like a vacuum cleaner, 2010 MX-5s. Different front end on the car, of course. That's Losh. Brad Wooten, who's been super quick, still sits in 2nd place. And then Damien Seeger rounds out your top 3 in class. So keep a little eye on that as there's a car coming out of the pit lane there. And you can just see the closing speed down the pits. Graham Ellis out there. Yes, so Graham Ellis still running in 20th place. He's up 5, but Anthony Connors, let's give him a bit of a rap here. He's up 8 positions in this race. And it was Andrew Dutch, who's the next car up the road from him, that took that tumble, unfortunately, at the start of the race. Lost 14 positions. Dutchy just up the road trying to recover. I love the livery here for Canto. Sorry, no, it is Dutch. Andrew Dutch, I love that. Canto's is nice as well, but how nice does this colour scheme look with the black, the blues? Very nice. What's that old rhyme? Blue and green should not be seen. What's the black? Is there a black and blue one as well that's similar to that? Sort of an old time colour coding rhyme that black and blue should never do. What is it? There's something, I'm sure, for black and blue. So this lead battle, we'll just keep an eye on this for a moment. Jack Boyd still under some pressure here. They've not let him get away at all. In fact, the top 5 cars at the moment covered by 1.9 seconds, which is good to see. There is your top 5 just coming onto the pit straight again now, 8 minutes into this 1 hour race. And the gap right on 1.9 seconds, then it's a further 2 seconds back to Aaron Oliver. Go further back in the field a little bit. Let's have a look at Brad Wooten now. And this is for the lead of class, so we'll keep an eye on this for a moment. We might ride on board with Brad Wooten for half a lap here and see if he's going to attack. We'll see how strong the slipstream is as well. Down the pit straight here at Imola. We'll tuck right in behind the number 68 of WBT Racing's Wayne Losh. And closing. Now Loshy will probably stay to the left-hand side of the track. No, he stayed to the right. So he's left the door wide open here for Wooten, who should go to the lead of the race now with that move. And he gets on the brakes quite early as well. So Wooten through, up into P14 outright, but more importantly into the lead of Class B on lap 5. Great job. Dutch fighting back as well now as we start to see a little bit of this 3, 4, 5 car battles heating up. This is what I saw in practice and absolutely loved. I think they're battling at the front as well, very similarly. Let's jump on board with Owen Coleman. Let's jump into some visor cam for a moment with him and get a feel for the back end of this circuit. So good to ride on board there for a moment. Just see the speed they're carrying down the pit straight as well. Over 200 kph before jumping on the brakes to the end of that big straightaway and trying to nail that Tamburello chicane. It's not the easiest corner to get through. You've got to sail the car through. Quite often wants to drift to the back end as well. They detach very easily. Some lift off oversteer. As we look back further, this is a battle between Simworx Racing drivers, and Moz at the moment in front of his teammate Anthony Connors. They're running in 19th and 20th place. There's a change of position up the road as well as Dutch gets through on Andrew Wooten. That puts Dutch now onto the back of the Group A cars where he would feel that he's quite justified to be with that car, which is a few seconds a lap quicker. At the moment, the 2:03 is around the average time for the Group A cars and 2:08 to 2:09. So what's that, about 5 seconds, 5 to 6 seconds of difference, 5 in fact, between the Group A and Group B cars around Imola. So it's quite a big difference for them to get used to. Closing speed, of course, can catch you out in these different multi-class racing events. Big thanks to Lee Harrison for sharing the stream tonight. Also Darren Linus, who shared the stream. Graham Ellis shared. And Mark Foster. Everyone else that shared that doesn't. Sometimes if it's to a private page it won't tell me, but big thank you to those sharing the stream on Facebook there, and especially those involved in the series. If you come along to watch one of your friends or family, make sure you let me know in the chat, because I do keep one eye on that and I tend to try and give updates, and all you got to do is say, hey Luke, give us an update on such and such, and I'll generally try and get across to them and give you some onboard footage or some close-ups of their car as much as possible. Now the leaders are just coming up on some lap traffic now, which could get interesting. Look at that big train of cars in the background as well. Lee Harrison leading that little charge with Oliver, Edwards, Patterson and Scott Baker in the back of this as well. So after his teammate unfortunately got involved in that incident earlier on, Scott Baker for Southern Cross Racing still inside the top 10. So we're going to see our first lap car now have to yield shortly. Mr. Gordon gets out of the way nicely. He just goes to the outside. Everyone sneaks through. This is a good performance on debut. Obviously he's got some sim racing experience. This man Tane, he's come along tonight and is staying with the guy that's basically been right up there in the top podium positions since the get-go, Jack Boyd. We're missing Hobbo tonight, so no Hobbo. He said he couldn't race tonight. I'm not sure if he's watching, but a little shout out to Hobbo88, who can't be with us tonight. We always miss when there's no Hobbo out there. I'm sure he'd be right up with this little battle, partaking if he was out on the sim tonight. Edwards under attack here from Patterson. Patterson down the inside, job done. And sweeps across the nose of him too. How about Baker in the background? He might get himself a good run onto the pit straight as well. looking back from the Frog Leap Juice racing car at Scott Baker. Patterson's in the pits, so he's gone in for his, well, first of 3 stops, I predict, if that's a genuine pit stop happening that early. Can anyone shed light on the pit strategy tonight? I'm not 100% sure on fuel tank capacity, all that sort of thing. I'm going to find out as we go along, but it is quite early for Caleb Patterson. Jill says, big shout out to Jack Boyd and Glenn Boyd from the Nana in Victoria, watching every week. That's fantastic. Thanks, Jill. And of course, Jack leading this race. I'm going to go looking at the moment for Glenn. Where's he dropped to? He's dropped off the radar slightly. He's way back down in 30th place. He's on the, in fact, on the back of this pack, but down a lap, sadly. So he has taken a pit stop though, although it's telling me it was a long stop, nearly a minute in the pit lane to fix that damage. That's due to that crash where he lost the back end and then was collided with by a couple of competitors. So that's put him a lap down on the leaders, but that will be short-lived. He'll get that lap back once they all come in for a stop. I'm sure he would love a safety car just after that too, to re-bunch things up. Greg Holmes said Hobbo missed qualifying by 1 minute. There you go. That's very upsetting. And Matty Wynn says, can I ask what happened to Keith? Had to leave the room and now can't see where he is. Well,
I'm so sorry, Dave. That was definitely neck code, mate. I'm so sorry for that.
Oh, there's a bit of a sorry there from Patterson, trying to see what's happened with him. But yeah, if you missed the earlier crash, sadly this is what happened to Keith Logan. We'll show you that one first.
That's all good, mate. Don't stress.
This was unfortunately on board with Keith. You'll just see up ahead Glenn Boyd loses the back end of the car, and then Keith can't avoid him coming back onto the racetrack, bang, and then got rear-ended just to go along with his troubles. Unfortunately, that was Keith. Puts a dampener on his race completely. As we go back to live, we will check out what happened to John Thorne. Something's just happened recently. So we can catch, this is one of the Group B competitors. I think he's going to lose the back end too. Down through here, it tends to be a spot. Oh, he's just touched the grass. Around she goes. Oh, good save. Then the old tank slapper goes back the other way and then catches it. So we heard a little bit of chit chat there between Patterson, I think it was, and someone else. Maybe a little bit of contact as Boyd works his way through the field. You can see Tane in the background also trying to get through the lap traffic. Owen Coleman running in third, still within a second of the race lead, so he's on a really good charge tonight. Kyle Ridley we haven't spoken about at all, but there he is for the Juice Frog Leap Racing team in fourth. Nick Wood running at top 5, also part of this little front pack. So 1.5 seconds, just a little bit more, in fact 2.2. It's just grown slightly, that gap between first and fifth. But then Daylight back to 6th place. Oliver now 6 seconds off the lead. And the top 13, which is your Group A competitors, covered by a spread of 36 seconds, as that was a car down the inside. It was Nick Wood, in fact, maintaining 5th place. So unfortunately, if you miss qualifying, as Hobbo has by 1 minute, it doesn't let you in the race. That's the thing with iRacing, you've got to be in the server prior to going into the race session, so that's unfortunate. Otherwise, it would be good if they let them just join in at the last minute and start from the pit lane. But it's not to be. Boyd's in the pits now, your race leaders coming in. In fact, the top 3 all into the lane. Ridley continues on, so does Wood. Let's see if Cameron Edwards comes in. He stays out as well. So it's going to be Kyle Ridley leading this race on lap 10. 18 minutes in. Greg might be able to tell us. He's over in the chat at the moment. Greg, what's the... oh, there you go. He's already answered my question before I've even asked it. He's like he's so intelligent. He's got the question. He got the answer out before I asked the question. Only 1 pit stop for fuel tonight, Greg says. So there you go. That's exactly what I was about to ask. So 1 stop and Boyd's in already. Tane's in. Coleman, Oliver, Joel Smith's in as well. Harrison, Morgan and Harrison. Both Harrison's, Lee and Ray, are both in the pit lane. So let's just see where this brings Glenn. What I am wondering is if the likes of Glenn Boyd, who stopped on lap 2, can get to the end of the race. And he took 59 seconds worth of fuel. I presume that will get him home. Hopefully it can. It'll bring him back into at least onto the lead lap. Dylan Canto now moves up into 7th. Seeger goes across the line in 8th place, right on his rear bumper bar. A couple of Group B competitors now into the top 10. This is 6th place. Brad Wooten leading Group B, as he did most of last week. And 49 seconds off the lead, but just a couple of seconds up the road from Canto and Seeger. Nice close battling between them. Keeping an eye on Jack Boyd. He's come out a couple of seconds clear, 1.4 seconds clear of Tate after the first and only pit stop. So there you go. He's carrying a lot of speed, isn't he, young Boyd here in the Simworx racing car. So starting fuel was 12 litres for both cars. Unlimited fuel available in the stop. Fill her up and go hard, says Greg Holmes. So I presume that will... oh, we got a spinner there. Someone's gone right around. So I presume that means that those that did stop very early can fill it right to the brim and make it home also on the one-stop strategy. So we've got Nick Wood in the pits, Ridley as well. I predict that Cameron Edwards will go in, he does. So we should see all the others that haven't stopped yet in now. So we've got Edwards, Dutch should go in as well, Wooten, Canto, Seeger, and then Moz will be the last to go into the pits in that top 10 grouping, which should bring Jack Boyd now back up to the lead and give us a rundown on what the actual timing table should look like heading into the latter part of this race. Still 40 minutes to go, or just on 39 minutes to go. We'll take a 30-second break, turn the sound up for a moment, and we'll get set for the next 2/3 of this race. So lap 11, 23 minutes in now. We're watching Aaron Oliver trying to hold out Cameron Edwards, who's just been starting to pay a little bit of attention to the rear bar of number 26 now, and he's looking like he's intending an overtake or two. Oh, Aaron Coleman is out of shape. Motorsport Hauler's racing entry brings it back onto the track in 10th place, lost a few positions there. Scott Baker was able to sneak through. Baker, I was going to say the sole remaining Southern Cross racing car, but I'm pretty sure Keith's back out there circulating. He's just up the road. Unfortunately, he's down a lap, Keith, after that earlier incident. It's been, all in all, pretty clear racing, or clean racing, I've got to say, across the first 11 or 12 laps of this race. They've held it together very well. There is your race leader, Kyle Ridley, who, okay, so there you go. He's jumped into the lead of this race. Now, he did quite a short pit stop. We'll have a look shortly at the stoppage time. He's got a 3.8 second gap to Jack Boyd. The difference in stop time was 33 seconds for Kyle versus 47 seconds for Jack Boyd. So I presume Kyle is going for some sort of two-stop strategy here, or else he feels he can save enough fuel throughout the race as we see cars in the background. They're going really wide. Jack Boyd was out of shape as well. I think a bit of, I think he got a little bit distracted by that sliding lapped car. Almost ended up in the wall with him. And Tane is now within 1.1. Just took a little bit of that margin out of Jack Boyd for what is, I think it's going to be challenging for the lead position. I think Kyle, although leading this race on lap 12, I think we'll need to make a splash and dash towards the end. Just seeing who else did a short stop. Lee Harrison also in 4th place. 35 seconds stationary. Let me bring up those fuel times for you. There you go. There's how much fuel they put in the car, which is on the left side of the screen. And the fuel strategy on the right-hand side, as you can see there. Let's just go top 10 cars. Is probably enough. And you can see that they're all pretty similar. Patterson went early, lap 7. He took 46 seconds worth of fuel, so pretty lengthy pit stop for him. Those that took less fuel is the race leader, P4, Lee Harrison. And then if you go all the way down to Nick Wood, he only took 16 seconds worth of fuel. I wonder if the Group B cars use a bit less fuel as well. Definitely amongst these Group A competitors, they're going to be in a bit of strife if they took 10 seconds less fuel, you would think. There's a good indicator there on the right-hand side, just showing exactly how long each stoppage was. Closing in too, so 2.1 seconds now between the race leader and Jack Boyd. Venables as well, that's Tane in P3 also going with him. They're just getting closer and closer every lap at this stage. Let's go down to this battle between Graham Ellis and Darren Linus. Frog Leap versus Local Larry Racing. That's right on board for a moment here with Darren Linus as he gets his wing mirrors full of the Local Larry Racing car from Graham Ellis. Saying, where's Caleb in relation to leaders that have pit? Caleb Patterson, well, he's in 6th place. That's probably an old message, is it? He's in 6th place and at the moment 14 seconds off the lead, so he's got a bit of work to do tonight. Young Patterson. I like this scrap down the field. This is always good to watch. These are the Group B cars. They're not horsepowered up like the Group A drivers. They've got to really carry speed through the corners, don't wash off momentum. That was Graham Ellis just telling Henry Fenton to go left and work his way down the inside line, which he does. Graham didn't want to have too much of a battle with him. He did sneak through then. Oh, tyres almost let it go. You could just hear he's also having a few stabs at the throttle. And now Linus moves alongside and will move himself up a position. So Graham Ellis under attack here. That's a good sequence of corners. This shows you make a little mistake in these MX-5s and the other guys that are around you can just sneak straight through. They keep the momentum moving. It's all about car control, this series. So your race leader now has 2nd and 3rd bolted to the rear of his car. This is where you would suspect Jack Boyd will probably be pretty comfortable with sneaking through into the lead, which he does. So, oh, down the inside. Not yet. The Frog Leap Juice Racing car hangs on. Kyle Ridley still leads as we head up the hill. comment from Greg saying that the 2010 cars, which is the Group B cars, they'll need 32 litres for the race. So it's always one thing I've said for ages. I wish we would given the details of how much fuel is left in each car, but as I've also always said, it's something they can't give us, because then teams would be able to use that to perfect their strategies against other teams in a race. But it would be fantastic if somehow broadcasters could get that information and no one else. It's just never going to happen, but a bit of guesswork out of it, as we now know that they need 32 litres for the whole race. I'm just watching the stoppage time for Wooten was almost identical with Losh, so these two, whilst they're fighting for the lead in Group B, there is currently about 5 seconds between them. Damien Seeger, we celebrated this last week, didn't we? The WBT racing team running in formation. They do this very well. I'm sure they practice in this sense as well, just doing lap after lap with each other. What this is helping Damien do is save some fuel. No doubt they'll then flick around and switch positions, and Damien will give some help back to Wayne to save some fuel as well, if need be. Maybe they put enough fuel in the car to get home and they don't need to save fuel. In an ideal world, that would be great, but Damien did take a 1.5 seconds less fuel in the stop. Glenn Boyd, who's also trying to unlap himself. In fact, he is back on the lead lap now, but he wants to try and get past these Group B cars, get himself onto the back of the Group A's, which is from 1st to 14th. If he can join that party, then he can start thinking championship points again, see what he can scrounge out from this round here at Imola. Round number 4, the Enduro round. So this week on Race Stars TV, we've got the Pro Invitational Series on Wednesday night, which is V8 Supercars. And I'm doing production for that. Then Thursday night, the final round of the V8 Vets that I'll be broadcasting for the time being, or maybe indefinitely, as we take a break from V8 Vets on Thursday and Friday nights. And enjoy a bit of downtime. Then next week, of course, we're back with some more racing with the Roadster Rumble and the Australian Sports Dance.
You guys are racing, you're right.
I think they are back on the 7th of September for Wednesday, so 2 more rounds left for them. And as we spoke with Rue last night during the Vets broadcast, we've got F3A kicking off again Tuesday the 20th of September for 10 weeks straight. So if you love your F3 racing, definitely get yourself locked in. If you want to be part of that series, there's still time as well, so go and check out F3A, brought to you by Formula Racing Group. That's what's happening on Race Stars TV over the next couple of weeks or so, so should be exciting. Looking forward to it all. Beyond the halfway point now, we're watching our race leaders. Let's go to Aaron Oliver. And I'm thinking I might try and get Greg in for a chat if he's up for a chat. Get him in at some point tonight. I know he's not racing tonight, but I'm going to head over to the green, or to the broadcast room, and see if I can get him into the green room and have a little bit of a chat about this series, the sponsors and other things, because it is a great series to be a part of if you love MX5 racing, or if you love racing in general and you want to be part of this Roadster Rumble series. Make sure you do get involved and hit them up, and you'll be out there racing on this broadcast next week if you can get yourself locked into the league. They've got some great sponsors on board too. They don't really mention them too often, but top right of the screen you can just see throughout the night, constantly flicking through different sponsors, and it's definitely worth checking it out. So let's see if we can just grab Greg now for a moment or two and just have a little bit of a chat about the series, because we're 34 minutes into the race. Pretty good racing so far. You've got to be pretty proud of the boys and girls out there tonight. Greg, they've been clean all in all.
It's been a fairly uneventful race, which is always good. I was actually just doing a little bit of spotting for Anthony Connors when you were watching the broadcast, of course. So Yeah, but
Thanks,
all in
mate.
all, it's been this track is always difficult
Yeah.
because of the off track. So it's good to see the boys have taken it on board and keeping it fairly clean.
And Greg, do you know much about this Tane bloke? Because he is really giving Jack Boyd a run for his money here. Where's he come from?
Okay, so Tane raced with us a couple of seasons back, and then taken a sort of a sabbatical, bit of a break, and then contacted me. I actually spoke to Tane on the phone today and asked if if he could come back, and obviously we're 4 rounds in, so sort of said to him, look, that's fine, but there's guys racing for a championship. I spoke to Jack Boyd and Hobbo about it because Tane is very quick,
right?
And the boys were more than keen to have him back on track because, as Hobbo said, he loves a challenge.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, these guys. No one wants to win by a massive margin. Everyone wants to have a battle out there.
Yeah, and that's the good thing is that I think if we've got a group of 5 or 6 at the front every week battling, I think the guys all in all are quite happy to fight it out, and as long as we can sort of keep it under control and nobody's getting too much of an advantage with off tracks and stuff, which I mean this season so far it's been fantastic. Obviously a few guys are still trying to come to grips with the new rules, but overall I think the racing's improved out of sight.
Yep.
Last week was maybe a bit of a glitch with Sandown, but again that's a track that a lot of guys haven't done a lot of laps on, so these some of the newer tracks take a little bit of getting used to, but overall I think the season's gone really well so far. I've been really happy with where it sits and the competitiveness in both classes this season.
No, I've enjoyed it too. So 2 classes, of course, the 2 different makes of MX-5s and a stack of great sponsors, mate. I was saying earlier, I don't really run through the names at all during a broadcast, but they're constantly up in the top right-hand side of the screen. But I don't know if you want to elaborate on any more of them, but Simworx, obviously, race simulators have been a big part of your series for a long time. But just want to tell us a little bit about any of the other sponsors tonight?
Yeah, so Simworx, I've actually, I'm probably a little bit greedy. I've got 2 Simworx sims. One of them, the story behind Simworx, I went to Singapore for one of the Formula 1 races, and while I was over there, I got a message from the guy, Jack, at Claver at the time. He was running Simworx. His son Luke runs it now, and he sent me a message saying I needed to go to Madame Tussauds and check out the rigs, the sims that they had there. So of course I went to have a look, and they turned out to be 2 F1 cars.
Wow.
Full replica, full-blown F1 cars.
Yep.
So I did a couple of laps at Monza in one, and I sent Jack a message saying I need one. So I've now got one sitting in my man cave at home.
Oh, an F1?
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so that's what sort of started the relationship, and then from there I had another old sim that never seemed to work, so Jack has sort of semi-retired, but Luke has taken over, and I spoke to Luke and he set me up with another really top-end sim. It doesn't help my driving, mind you, but the boys have been fantastic. A lot of the guys in the league now are running Simworx pedals.
Yep.
We've sort of, the Simworx guys always jump in, are happy to give them a hand. The Palmer's connection is actually my wife. Yep. She runs the Palmer's export business from here in Australia. So Palmer's is an American company.
Yep.
And she looks after all the Asian market here in Australia. So, and Palmer's have sort of jumped on and given Jack Boyd a bit of a hand with his little Aussie racing car this year as well. Yeah. So that's the connection with Palmer's, and the rest of them are guys that either race in the league or are somehow connected with those companies.
Yep.
And they've been really supportive from day one. So we've been really lucky as far as sponsors go, which is part of the reason that the league survives like it does. WBT, for example, that's Wayne Losh. He's connected with them. They're also For those that watch the V8 supercars, Loshie's boss, Jared and Mags,
Yep.
they race the Super Utes.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got a bit of racing connection from the real world in the league as well. So it's always good.
And mate, I mean, I know you put hours into this series, as every series organiser does. What do you think is the easiest? What's the hardest thing you've got to deal with when it comes to running a series like this?
So the hardest thing is keeping 60 odd people happy.
Yeah.
That's not
61
always
if you
possible.
include me.
Yeah, well,
I can be a bit precious.
aren't we all? That's the hardest.
Yeah.
And finding ways of keeping people interested
Yeah.
is probably close to that as well. Just putting together a series and saying, well, okay, here's a bunch of tracks, it can get a bit stale.
Yeah.
So I'm always looking for ways to try and tweak things and make things better. I mean, as people often tell me, sometimes I'm a bit too much of a perfectionist.
Yeah.
And that can work against me because I tend to get frustrated when things don't go the way they should. But overall, I mean, I love doing what we do. I love the connection that we've now got with Race Stars. I mean, that has truly been. I doubt that I'd still be doing this if it wasn't for yourself.
Thanks, mate.
Well, I mean, and that's just being straight up honest. The guys love the broadcast.
Yeah, cool.
As you've probably seen by the amount of people that are now sharing it.
Yep, no, that's
each
great.
week.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw the post I put on our Facebook page, but for the last 2 weeks in a row, we've cracked over 700 views.
Yep. And I know a lot of guys are sharing it. I see the shares pop up, and it's fantastic because we do this. Obviously, they love watching it back themselves, but that can be, they've also got to keep in mind that there's sponsors involved. There's other reasons why sharing it is important, and I think sim racing in general, sometimes the drivers lose the aspect of that. They love the fact that, hey, we get a broadcast for everything, but they just forget that there's costs involved for yourself and for sponsors. So it's important that they do push it out there.
Yeah, and that's what we've sort of tried to drive home with a lot of the guys, is that if you want to, and I mean, I know of at least 2 companies that spend their Tuesday morning smokos and then the rest of their lunch break just going back over the broadcast.
Yep.
And one of those happens to be WBT, where you've got Wayne Losh and his boss and that they're always looking, and
I'll put them up on the screen while you're talking about them.
and then you've got the guys at Simworx.
Yep.
Andrew still racing with us, Andrew Pears, so he works at Simworx.
Yep.
So he's always putting the broadcast up the next morning and going through it and watching what everybody else is doing. So I mean, it's a great learning tool for a lot of these guys as well.
Yeah.
Because they get to listen to your comments. Watch guys like Hobbo and Jack in that race, and it gives them a bit more confidence, I suppose, that there is life, even though people like myself and that quite often get stuck down the back of the grid. We know it's not because of the car or anything else. It's just the nut behind the wheel.
Yeah, but that's the good thing. I try and if I see a battle down in 20th place, I'll still try and give it airtime. So I think a lot of the drivers tend to find that out. Eventually they go, well, if you can at least have a battle, doesn't matter where you are in the 35 drivers that are out there, you're going to get some airtime. And
that's the thing, is that a lot of the guys, I think in the early days, they were a little bit sort of questioning, how do we actually get on the broadcast? And it's as simple. It's like you said, it can get hard if you're just driving around on your own.
Yep.
But if you can get involved in on-track battles with other cars, then it's worth watching.
Well, the WBT guys, it's incredible. I've got to spit the words out. Watching them 2 weeks in a row now, they just fly in formation. And
Yeah.
they're very evenly matched. Lossie and Seeger are very even in their driving style, and their lap times are almost identical. In fact, their last lap was a 2:09.12 versus a 2:09.13, so they're almost identical. And you know, they obviously practice like this too, and they love this little inner challenge they got with each other, racing each other.
Yeah, so they every Sunday afternoon we put up an official practice. So if there's anybody out there that isn't sort of confident in wanting to come out and race, that's fine. We have, as I said, we have an official practice every Sunday afternoon. A lot of the boys jump in, you know, run some laps with us during practice sessions and that, and then from there they'll make their way into the league. But those practice sessions are usually where you'll find Damo and Loshy running around nose to tail, just reeling off lap after lap after lap. And it's what I say to people, that they always comment, oh, these guys are so fast, but they practice.
Yep.
Everybody practices except for Hobbo. Hobbo says I'm not allowed to tell anyone. He never practices, but I have a sneaking suspicion that Hobbo might be one of those closet guys that actually does practice but doesn't like to tell anyone.
I reckon he just does so many laps and so many different things that it's just natural.
Yeah, I've seen his. We had a post up during the week of, you know, show us your rigs.
Yep.
And Hobbo put a picture of, and I think it's left a lot of people absolutely gobsmacked, because he actually races on a desk.
Yep.
Which a lot of guys are sort of going, well, if he's that quick on a desk, please don't give him we're hoping that no one sponsors him and actually puts him in a full-blown rig, because I think he'll be just about untouchable.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys. I mean, I've seen, I think it was F3A, that series, they had a guy that was just racing on a desk setup, and was actually one of the quickest there. It's, you know, it's what you're comfortable with, and while it feels great to be in a full-blown simulator, like you're simulating driving a real race car, at the end of the day, right, it's inputs into the wheels, inputs into the pedals, and you can get that sitting at a desk if you put your mind to it.
Yeah, and I mean, we've got you know, Hobbo's not the only one. We have some guys that are, you know, relatively new to sim racing that are doing the same sort of thing. We've got a guy that's been with us since day one, Darren Linus. He raced with us the very first night, and he's gone from racing at a desk to a rig this season, and already you can see the difference.
Yep. So
I think that, you know, that's another good thing with just having this type of league, is that we get to see these guys progress from, you know, I bought myself a Logitech wheel and pedals and I want to race, but then once the bug bites, they then start to progress from there.
Yeah. Well, we're seeing a 3-wide moment right now with Dutch and Simon Joel Smith. There's been a few guys, obviously disappointment tonight. Mark Foster just saying in the chat that he was taken out lap 2. Unfortunately, went 2 laps down. But, you know, he's, I think, still out there racing. They tend to stay out there and don't just quit for the night. Keith Logan was another one that got taken out on the opening couple of laps, and he's still out there. So do you reward any points to people for just finishing the race as well?
Yes, so we pay points all the way down. It doesn't matter where you finish. You still get points if you do 75%, at least 75% of the race.
Yep.
And then with the incident points is, I haven't made it too public. I put a post up, but I don't think people have quite put 2 and 2 together yet. So at the end of this season, the competition, the overall winners will be decided on a formula using not just championship points, but also incident points.
Wow, yep.
So while there's guys that are super quick and probably looking at the championship table going, I think I've got this, they really need to look in the right-hand column and see where the incident points are.
Yeah.
Because that to me makes, it's just as important in racing to be as clean as you can. I mean, if these guys were racing in a real series, and we were only chatting about it on the weekend, where one of the guys suggested perhaps we should just give them a $1 cap at the start of the season, and based on the amount of damage you get once you've spent your money, then. But of course, that would be quite difficult because assessing some of these write-offs would be. But I mean, as I said, we're always looking for ways of trying to tweak the series. One of the other things that we've done, we run a sort of an in-house GT4 league now on Wednesday nights.
Right. Yep.
And we've encouraged a lot of the guys. Well, actually, it's not all of them, but most of the guys from Monday nights now race GT4s, which we're doing just to try and give them that next level of experience, so that when they jump back in the Mazdas on Monday night, it might feel that little bit easier.
Yeah, they'll feel slower but easier.
Yes, yeah. So sometimes driving something a bit quicker can make it easier, because the Wednesday night league has, there's no, it's no consequences type thing. I mean, we still use the incident points and stuff, and the racing has been really good on the Wednesday nights as well. So, but it's just another way we're trying to encourage people. And the other thing we've done is we actually run a driver school now.
Okay.
The other Thursday night before Sandown, which was a bit of a shock, we ran a driver training night where we had Brad Wooten and some of the really quick guys. We had Wayne Losh, Damien Seeger, Moz, a few of the boys come in and help the guys lower down in Group B.
Yep.
Just to give them a few driving tips. And the plans are to do another one of those again in the coming weeks, just to try and help them with their braking, their cornering, and rejoins and things like that.
Yep.
Yeah, so the league is more than just jump in Monday nights and race. I'm sort of trying to make it an overall experience, I suppose.
Yeah, no, it's a good community, and we're just watching this Tane Jack Boyd battle, which I haven't been speaking about, but we've been watching it on and off for about the last 15 minutes. They must have traded positions now 10, 15 times. It's so evenly matched between them. I got no idea who's going to win this. And as far as the fuel stops go, both of them took exactly the same, so 47 seconds worth of fuel. So I think it's just going to be a good old-fashioned ding-dong between these two now, right to the flag with 8 minutes to go. So who's your prediction? Who would you put your money on here, Tane or Jack?
I would say Jack's probably overdue for a bit of luck. So
luck and iRacing, do they go together?
Well, I think, as you called it last week, last race of last week, young Caleb and Jack came together.
Yeah.
At the end of the back straight.
Yes.
And unfortunately for Caleb, when we did the review and sort of did the still frame, he actually had 4 wheels off the track.
Right.
through that corner. So that's a no-no, obviously.
Yep.
So hopefully, it's a good clean finish.
They've been having a good scrap here. This is Caleb Patterson, Aaron Oliver, and Kyle Ridley for P345. They've been constantly changing position too. So you got these little battles going on. The rest of the field's pretty much gapped out now. I'm looking at Brad Wooten. Looks like he's going to sew up another Group B victory tonight. He's got a gap of, what is it? I'm just having a quick look. It's about 10 seconds back to Loshy. So he's pretty comfortable there, but we will stay mostly with the action at the top now to the end. 7 to go. And I can't predict who's going to be in P3 either between Ridley, Oliver and Patterson. They're yo-yoing around just as much as the leaders.
It's so what's the current gap between second and third?
Boyd back to Patterson's 13 seconds, so you can shut the gate on that. The top two have bolted tonight. In fact, it's over 14 seconds now, and they're cutting their way through lap traffic. Tane's still leading here now by 0.6 of a second to Boyd. But then Patterson back to Ridley. Those next 3 positions, 3rd, 4th and 5th, they're covered at the moment by just under 0.8 of a second. So, anyone can take it out there for the final position on the podium.
Yeah, there's 3 names that I would not like to. I have no idea with those 3 boys. They're all relatively young.
Yeah, but
and,
I've got to say, mate, I think the balance too, just to change the subject, but the balance you've got between the sprint races and the enduros is working well this series as well, this season.
Yeah, I was tempted after Suzuka. My talking to a few of the boys, my plan for tonight was to actually run 2 30-minute races instead of the hour race.
Yep.
And I still may throw that in as a curve. We've only got one enduro round left, which is Fuji, the last round.
Yep.
So I may even throw that in as the curveball and just run 2 30-minute races on that one, because the hour-long races are great, but I think it was Hobbo that made the comment that these cars are not really set up for that type of racing.
Yeah.
So we do get spread out fields.
Yeah, true.
I sort of lean now towards maybe 30-minute races where you still need to do a pit stop for fuel.
Yeah, that's what I like too.
Yeah.
I also find that scenario brings people back into a race if they have a shocker in, race 1. They've still got a chance for race 2.
Yes.
Whereas you've got guys out there now that they know they're slogging it out for 50 minutes at the back because they've spun around on the first lap.
Yeah, they're basically just running for tail end points.
Yeah.
Which can be frustrating. We went to the hour-long races to mix it up a bit this season, but as I said, Fuji, we may end up just doing 2 30-minute races just for something different.
Yeah, cool. Oh, we just saw Boyd back in front again, so they've changed position another couple of times since we've been talking. Seeger and Losh still flying in formation down here in 18th and 19th. Our biggest mover tonight, Caleb Patterson, obviously. Was he penalised for that incident last week? That's why he came from back of the field?
No, so they have 2 laps of qualifying. My guess is that he probably got off tracks on both laps.
Right, okay. So he's come through 15 spots to be in P3, so that's a decent drive.
Yes, yeah, and that's can sometimes be the issue. You only get the 2 laps to qualify. So if you get an off track, obviously you're not going to set a time.
Yep.
It's actually what happened to me at Sandown last week. I didn't get to set a time in qualifying, so I started rear of field. So it can be frustrating, but that's just the reality of it. It's no different to real motorsport. Sometimes you need to put in a banker lap before you try to do a quick lap.
Yeah, that's it. So we're just about to see, I think, probably 2 to go after this lap. We're at the 57-minute mark, and once again, this is where we see the run to the line. I'm going to see how close here towards the start-finish line Tane gets. He pulls alongside. Now, he doesn't get alongside Jack by the line, so he's going to have to keep in the back of his head. Look, he's going to want to lead into that final corner on the last lap, because you don't get enough of a slipstream by the finish line to be able to overtake a car. So Tane back into the lead now, of course. Jack Boyd following. But yeah, you've got to set yourself up. Obviously, I think that last chicane where they slow right down and leap over the curb there, that's going to be the crucial moment in this race now.
Yes, I've just shifted over to watch Jack and Tane. So there was a bit of a touch.
There was just then a bit of nose to tail.
Yeah, so I think Jack might just be...
Do you reckon Jack's holding back at all? Do you reckon he's given 10/10 here? It looks like he's. I mean, I'm looking at the outright best laps that they've done tonight. It's a 2:03.2 for Tane versus a 2:03.3. And Boyd's about to send it at the top of the hill, and he does. So he goes through to the lead. That's one place I wouldn't expect someone to go for an overtake, and Jack Boyd's just decided to pull the trigger.
That tells me that... What are we thinking? There's 1 lap to go?
I think, that we definitely 1 lap at the end of this one. We'll get white flag. So, obviously, Jack will go defensive now, and he's probably testing out what he'll do on the final lap, because he probably knows in the back of his head, right, he's a sitting duck down the pit straight. He's going to get overtaken again. But if he can maintain track position now through the chicane on the final lap, through the final couple of corners, there's not enough time between the final corner and the line for Tane to get a slipstream and get past him. So he's doing everything, I think, as a dress rehearsal on this lap to what he's going to do on the final lap.
I was just going to say, I think Jack might... Oh no, Tane's back again. I thought Jack might have just put the hammer down and tried to drive away.
Here's my prediction. Tane's going to overtake him again by the end of this straight. And then we're going to see... We just saw the rehearsal, the matinee, Now we're going to see the feature performance here from Jack Boyd. So he closes up again. We're watching out the back of Jack Boyd's car. This time he has parked it right on the left-hand side of the track, so he's making Tane go the long way around. And Tane will have to be late on the brakes here, and he is late on the brakes, and he turns in. How close is that? They almost make contact. They do make contact. And, oh boy, this is getting nervous here. Jack's hanging on the inside, though. Good, clean racing, isn't it? This is what you want to see. Oh, he just touched the grass then on turn-in, Tane. And I wonder if he might give a bit of Jack's medicine back to him up the top of the hill. Let's jump on board with Tane. In fact, we'll follow. Needs a great exit out of the hairpin, which he does. Carries a lot of speed right to the outside. Now this is where Boydie threw it up the inside on the previous lap.
And Jack's moved to
look at that.
To cover that.
He has, so he's closed it off. I wouldn't be surprised though if we still see a late lunge. Stays right on him through here. We'll stay on board. This is a great view. It shows how close they can follow. And now he's looking at the bottom of the hill. You never want to see someone go through there side by side. Up the hill will be crucial now for Tane to try and keep the momentum. And I think Jack's probably done enough there. He'll probably now move to the right-hand side. Close the door at the chicane. Surely not a lunge from that far back. No,
not there, but the last corner would be Tane's.
He's quick through there too. Watch Tane just, he's what, 2 car lengths behind now, but through the first of these last 2 corners he closes up and then he sends it through the final corner. Maybe hanging back a little bit and trying to get a bit more of a run onto the pit straight is the only chance he's got now. Look at this, he closes right up through there, uses all the curb and more. Last chance, here we go. I think Jack's done enough there, so he won't have enough time to the line now. I think Jack will take the checker flag. We didn't get shown the white flag, but the checker flag has come out, and Jack Boyd is going to win it by a whisker tonight. He's going to get it by a 1/10 of a second. Tane pulls out right on the line, but 86 thousandths of a second between the top 2. Fantastic racing once again for the Roadster Rumble. We're looking at P3. Caleb Patterson, who is he gets our biggest mover and shaker award tonight. 15 spots up into 3rd. That's a great performance, and he'll lead Aaron Oliver, who gets 4th just off the podium tonight, and Owen Coleman takes out your top 5 position. What a great finish to the race.
Fantastic.
Good race, Aaron.
And we just wait for Brad Wooten. He's been classified, so there you go. Group B's already been classified, being a lap or 2 down. So Wooten's being confirmed the winner of Group B, ahead of Wayne Losh and Damien Seeger. So another great race here for the Roadster Rumble, and we'll get some interviews and we'll talk to some drivers shortly. Thanks for coming in for a chat. It's been it's great having you on board tonight, Greg.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me back in again. Just before I go, I just want to shout out to Jack too. He broke the track record out at Taylor Bend last weekend in his little Aussie car, so just wanted to give him a shout out. I think he probably would have gone close to breaking the track record again tonight, keeping Tane out in the last lap.
That's it. Awesome. Good to talk to you, mate, and always good to hear more about the series too. I think it's good for the listeners and viewers out there to learn a little bit more about what happens behind the scenes on a series like this, so thank you.
No, thank you for having me, and we'll chat again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Greg Holmes in for a chat there. Let's go and talk to Jack Boyd shortly when he comes in. We've got Caleb Patterson in the house, just standing by with a fantastic 3rd spot, but we'll just hang a minute or so until our race winner comes in. But another fantastic finish, and also looking down the order, you can see Ray Morgan into 12th place, made 5 positions up tonight. A good performance by him. Darren Linus back in 25th, made up 7 with Ben Ferguson. Both those drivers deserve of a mention tonight for also having a clean race and moving forward in their efforts. We're still waiting for the top 2 to come in. We've got Loshie and Seeger standing by there, our Group B drivers. But Caleb, looks like it's, we might start with you tonight. P3, mate, fantastic drive, 15 spots to get a podium. Well done.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, it was pretty difficult, especially not getting a qualifying lap in. I was pretty annoyed at myself. I definitely could have been up there with Tane and Jack tonight, but look, yeah, I made do with what I had and drove from the back of the field, which was good fun, and yeah, it worked out well. I
did notice you had some pretty epic battles there with, I think it was Aaron Oliver and Ridley for a couple of laps there. You guys were just trading positions.
Oh yeah, that was awesome fun. I needed to get in front of them and put myself between a couple of 2010 cars and them, and finally did that and got a bit of a gap, so I held that off and had the pace just to keep it there, yeah.
Fantastic to watch. We've got our race winner in the house now, Jack Boyd. Congratulations, mate, and what a great ding-dong you've had all race long there with Tane.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, that was super cool. We haven't seen him for a while, Tane, but it's really good to have him back. And yeah, we always have a great race. He's super fast in these cars, so yeah, it's good to have him back. And I really hope he does a few more because I think we'll all have a good race with Hobbo and that front pack with him.
Yeah, for sure, mate. That little send heading up the hill with a couple of laps to go. Do you reckon that was the turning point where you just sort of broke your spirits a bit, or were you concerned on that last lap that he was still having a chance to come back at you?
Yeah, it was interesting. Like, our pace was quite similar. It was all just sort of in the draft. So yeah, I wasn't really sure how to play it. I was sort of experimenting with the last few laps on where to do it and where you want to be for the last lap, because that's where it counts. So it worked out in the end. But I think if he comes back, there'll be some awesome races in the future. That's for sure.
Excellent, mate. He's not here to have a word with us, but well done tonight, Tane, on a P2. Jack, who would you like to thank, mate, for the win tonight?
Just thanks yourself. I'm pretty sure that would have been a long race for you, mate. But you always do an awesome job. Thanks to Greg and all the guys for all the work they do. And quick shout out to Palmers and Simworx. Thanks, guys.
Fantastic job. P3 tonight, Caleb Patterson. Who would you like to thank, mate?
I'd just like to thank you for coming in here and doing the stream again. It's always awesome to watch it back, and just Greg for putting this series up. It's awesome fun, and all the boys that race in it, keeping it going. It's great fun. So yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks to our top three tonight for Group A. Jack Boyd with the win, Tane getting second, and Caleb P3. Congratulations, boys. Let's head across now to Group B as we just put the Group A results up on the screen for you. Just shows you your top 18 there for Group A. And we'll bring Group B back up on the screen now, and we'll go searching for some drivers. So let's bring them in. And hello, boys. Welcome to the booth. It's Brad Wooten who's taking the win tonight for Direct Clutch Motorsports by 9.5 seconds over Wayne Losh and Damien Seeger. Congratulations, boys. But Brad, mate, you got yourself on the top step again.
Yeah, mate, it's a pretty good race. I must say that I don't really enjoy that track. It's super hard to get every corner right every lap. So yeah, not an easy track, that one. Yeah,
plenty of off tracks. It's tough to keep it between the lines and to score a clean, race through there. But you did really well, up 2 positions tonight. You had some battles as well earlier on, but then sort of commanded the last half of the race with quite a good gap.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened. I just managed to come out ahead after the pit stop. So then I just was managed to pull away from them with no cars in the draft. So
no, well done. And Wayne P2 in class tonight, 18th, mate. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks for that, mate. Order's been restored. Brad's back, so I've got to be happy with second. I got a couple of wins last week when he was away, so order's restored. He's just that little bit too quick. I think I could have kept with him, but he got 4 seconds in the pit stop, so I had a pretty ragged outlap on cold tyres, and once he's got the gap, I know I'm not going to close down on him. He's just going to gradually eke it out, so well done to Brad.
No, good job, and I enjoy watching the formation flying again for the WBT racing team. Damien, you're right there, mate. Third in class, well done.
Yes, thanks, mate. Yeah, another 2 and a 3 for the team WBT. It's always a good sign. But it's a hard track, definitely. I actually had a bit of a plan, and it was to really be on Lushy's backside on that last lap, but unfortunately I lost a bit of concentration. Didn't realise it was the last lap and blew that plan.
No, awesome to watch. So thanks, boys, for the entertainment. We'll do the top 3 in class thank yous, starting with you, Brad, winning Group B tonight. Who would you like to thank?
Just everyone for coming out for the race tonight. Greg and everyone at Roadster Rumble for putting on an awesome league, and then yourself for the broadcast. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, mate. And then for the WBT racing team, Wayne and then Damien, who would you like to thank, guys?
Yeah, mate, just the usual, Palmers, Simworx, Raystar TV. They're the ones that I'd like to tick off. Thanks for all your work.
And Damien, anyone you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'll echo that, and WBT as well, Lushy, and just everybody in the Discord channel there. They know who they are. Turn up every week, and we have a ball. So thanks a lot for that. And lastly, you, Luke, good job, great broadcast, absolutely love it.
Thanks, mate, you legend. I heard you guys watch it in the meal room or something at work the following day. It's pretty cool.
I think a lot of us do that, so you can guarantee the next day that there's a lot of people in my work that probably just look at me and go, we've got to watch this again, do we? We should sneak in a few shout outs to some random work people and just give them a surprise look that next day. I'll flick you some names.
We should do that. That would be quite funny.
I've got a 165-inch 9-screen video wall at my work, and it generally gets put on every Tuesday. So yeah.
That's awesome. All right, well done. Thanks, guys, and we'll see you again next week. Congratulations on a great podium for Class B.
Thanks, Luke.
Thanks, Luke.
Cheers, boys.
Luke.
Righto, so that's all for tonight. Thanks, everyone that's joined us tonight for the Roadster Rumble. Jackboy Too Strong took the win, but how good is seeing this competition? Wait till you see Tane, Caleb, Hobbo back next week. We're going to get some super close racing at the front of this series, and as always, it's a pleasure bringing it to you every Monday night on Race Stars TV for the Roadster Rumble. Yeah, I'll see you next week. Good night.